Ducks Don't Get Cold Feet number 26, and I am here with Noel Faggoter. How are you, Noel?
All good,
and
thank
some
you.
of you might not know Noel, but you would definitely recognise his commercial. Noel's Caravans, Noel's Caravans. Go like that, Noel?
Something along them lines,
Something
yeah.
along
You're
those-
going well.
So Noel has been in the caravanning business his whole life. Interesting character. Anyone in South Australia would definitely know Noel, would definitely know his commercials without a doubt. You've done a lot of things in your time, Noel. But if people were only going to listen to the first minute of this podcast, what is it that's been the most special thing that you've done?
I think when I was probably 17-year-old as a boy, I was working in a tyre place and I was a tyre fitter there.
Yep.
And I thought these fellas were going out selling tyres and they had a ute to drive around in and go and sell tyres to different companies. Anyway, one day they had a special on these two-size tyres. And I said to the manager, I wouldn't mind having a go at that, selling tyres. So he said, well, you grab the old ute and off you go. So off I go. 17-year-old boy.
Car full of tyres.
You know, I went out and I started knocking on doors. Hey, mister, these tyres are bloody good tyres and they've got a good price. Are you interested in some? No. Kept knocking on doors. No. Then all of a sudden, I cracked a fella that was interested. And this place was called Harris Caravans, unbelievably. And I called in there to this place on Regency Road and he said, yeah, that's a good deal. I'll have 10 of them. Well, that really lifted me. I'd sold 10 tyres.
In your first deal.
My first sale. And I thought, gee, it really lifted me. So I kept going. And again, I went to a lot of different places, knocking on doors. Mister, these tyres are good value and wah. And I kept getting a lot of knockbacks again.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, I hit the jackpot. I've stopped at this place called Clemsick Auto Wreckers. And I went in there and the bloke said, mate, if you can get 50 of them here this afternoon, I'll get them. I'll have them off you. And that, I was right up in the air. I need to use your phone.
No mobiles back
No
then.
mobiles way back then. And I used his phone. I rang the manager and they said, you better get that ute back here and we'll get them there this afternoon with the 2 utes. And that afternoon, the state managers come down from the city down to Port Adelaide and congratulated me, had a go at the other salesman. If this kid can do it, what are you blokes doing? And I realised that day that I can do anything I want to. Anything.
That is so
And that there has sort of been probably the foundation of my life.
How good is that? What a solid start. Now, let's go back into the early days here. My wife's parents is one of 11 brothers and sisters. You're one of 8 brothers
Yes,
and sisters. What was that like, and whereabouts were you brought up?
Not too far from here, actually. It was down a place called Woodville North.
Yep, it's down the road.
Yep. I went to Pennington Primary School for 10 minutes. Well, for a short time there. And then I spent, when I went into school in the, what do you call it? The high school. Technical high school it was called.
Okay.
At Croydon.
Yep.
Yeah, but I was there only 10 minutes. I thought, this is a waste of time, school.
What? So fill me in on that. Like, you know, there's a lot of very successful people that have left school in the early days. Yeah. You look like a pretty young man, Noel.
I'm only 70.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going back a while here, but when you mean you're only there for 10 minutes, what did you actually?
I finished year 8.
Okay.
And I left.
My old man finished year 9 and then left.
Yeah.
So-
I think it was a waste of time.
Yeah. So when you were at school, what were you doing? Like did you have a lawn mowing round, or were you did you think that you'd be trying to earn money because you needed to leave school? What was your first job from leaving school? Like you must have done.
I went to a place called Lloyd's Timber Mills, got paid £5.16 a week, and then that was only there for a short time, and then I went to the tyre industry, and I started working at Firestone, Port Adelaide.
Yeah,
That's where I started as a tyre fitter in my younger years.
So you were like 13 or 14?
14, 15, yeah.
And what did your parents think of this?
Well, as long as I had a job and I paid board, that was fine.
Yeah.
Well, I had to be paid board. I could go back even further than that. During the school holidays, I got a job during the school holidays on piecework.
What's piecework?
Well, you get paid for so much you did. They made, what do they call it? Steel frame windows in them days.
Yeah. And
you had to cut up this angle line, and you had to go through the machine and cut it. And every ton you cut, I got £1.
Every ton?
Every ton you cut, you got £1. And me and this other bloke shared the money. We got £7.10 a week,
So that's good money.
Yeah, that's what we were getting when I was 13. And so, my working life started pretty early, really, yeah.
So earning that sort of money,
yeah.
And you would have been one of the few kids with money.
Yeah, and I had to pay me £1 a week board.
So all the kids had to pay £1 a week, even though you're like 12, 14?
So even when I went to school, when I was still going to school and I earned money, because it's the teaching, that it costs money to run a house and feed people, I paid board.
So, Ollie, how much money are you paying at home, mate? I had to pay. I wasn't, when I was at school, I didn't have to, but after school, I had to pay board.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Do you think that's something that should be, do you think I should be doing this to my kids?
For sure. They don't give them an easy ride. Teach them the hard way.
Is that how you believe you were brought up? Or what do you think was
well, that's the way I brought my children up, you know.
What sort of lesson were you learning from your parents?
Just get out and work.
Yeah.
Get out and work and save and you'll be fine,
And the saving part?
Saving, I didn't really waste money in them days. I was pretty careful, I think,
So you weren't buying mixed lollies or Coke or,
No.
No?
No, I just went to work. But I got married very young, though,
How old's young? So when were you married?
I got married when I was 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's Ollie's age. Oh.
Nearly 21.
Oh, get out of town. He's not 21. Really? Oh, God. Yeah, these days, kids seem to be waiting a lot longer to get married.
They do. Yeah, they do.
And is that because you think, because there's a lot more choices for them? Or do you think because they're still at home?
I think they're still at home. I think that's probably the main reason. They've got to get out and have a go.
Yeah.
And not live under the wing too long.
So were you a close family with your brothers and sisters?
Yeah, we've been quite a close family over the years, yeah.
Are they similar to you in the way they look at life?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
So you've left school early. I'm assuming you've started to save money from a young age. Key things for getting ahead in life is earn money as early as you can and save
for
some
a house.
of that money. And back in the day, it was always to save for a house.
For a house was what the most important thing was.
So at what age were you? Because, it just pieces together how times have changed. So how old were you when you got your first house?
I moved into it when I was 19. I started building it when I was 18.
So
I bought this first block of land in Valley View for $1,900, and it was one of the biggest blocks in the street, and I built a nice home there for my family.
It's hard. It's so hard. 1,000. How much did it cost to build the house, though?
$10,653. Seriously, there's always been a joke about this figure because, I thought it would be the biggest amount of money I would ever spend in my life. $10,653. And now I spend like nearly 10 times that a day. It's just to put it together. It's just it's incredible.
I mean, that is incredible. I mean, you look at how things have gone to this day and age, and let's say we don't want to live in the city. We want to live a bit further out, like Valley View, or even further away. You're not getting change from maybe 250 grand, full budget, as cheap as you could possibly go in a not very nice place.
Correct.
And back then, it would have been relative to what sort of money you were earning. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
Or how much? Is there a percentage of money that you learned to save, or it was just save as much as I can and spend as little?
I think I had to borrow $8,800 was my initial loan for the home.
Yeah.
The land I'd saved up and paid cash for.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I mean, that's a pretty valuable lesson for anyone.
Oh, well, yeah. But yeah, that's right. It was a foundation for me.
So straight into a house, 19, 20 years of age. And then what?
Then what? 19.
So 20s. I mean, you established Noel's Caravans in 1974. And you know what's very important about that date? That's when Drake's was started in 1974 by my old man.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
So you were buying, I'm assuming you were buying and selling caravans previous to that while you were at the house?
No, just before 74, I started buying a second-hand caravan and doing it up, and because I used to hire caravans and go out on holidays, take my family.
Yep.
And I started to buy a couple of second-hand caravans from people, clean them up and sell them, and I thought, there's a quid in this, so I just kept doing it. And in the end, I just borrowed some money against the house.
Yeah.
And got a loan and bought 6 new vans at a time. And I used to sell them from my backyard and make $200 on each of them. It was back in the boom of the mid-70s where everyone was buying caravans.
So is it fair to say there's a boom? We're in 2021 and 2020 with COVID and whatnot. Is it fair to say you've had a caravan rush? Like you mentioned this back in the 70s, there was a caravan rush. What was that like?
The caravan rush was, hey, mister, don't push in, you just get on the end of the line.
This was like happening.
It was actually serious because there were so many people lining up to buy caravans. I think they were selling something like around 30,000 caravans a year in the country. And they dropped down to 3,000 in the late 80s.
Yeah.
The mid to late 80s. So the industry really went down into a hole.
So is that because of the oversaturation of product? People say, I'm going to travel, then all of a sudden travel becomes cheaper. They start traveling more. I mean...
I can't really remember back then. If I had to remember, the mid to late 80s would be because of... I think the interest rates were just so high in them days. 17 and 18% people were paying interest rates.
Yeah, Dad's told stories of how bad it really was.
The interest was so high, and so we really fell into a hole with caravan sales, and that's when I started my home business up, selling homes and doing that, and that was a real big winner for me.
So you also, what else were you selling? Were you selling tinnies or hiring out tinnies as well?
Oh, that's back in the early days. Right in the early days, I used to hire canoes from home and little boats with motors on, and used to hire them out, and that was just a bit of money on the side, so to speak. Yeah.
So it was fair to say that you would be seeing this happening around you and thought, That's something I can introduce. That's something people are going to need if they want a all-in-one package. If they're going to sit
Yeah,
and
you
hire
have a
something.
canoe, they put a canoe on the rack and as well, so yeah. But in the end, I sold that part of the business off and concentrated on caravans in the end.
So you are selling caravans, renting caravans out.
I don't rent.
No, just selling
Just selling
caravans, and
caravans.
then it sort of comes off, and you're like, well, hang on, I'm not selling any caravans. You started to go into homes, mobile
It
homes.
started
Is
to
it fair
drop
to say?
right off the caravans, and it was the relocatable home industry started, where people were buying homes and putting them in the caravan parks. They buy these they were compact little homes, 1 and 2 bedroom homes,
Yeah.
and we used to sell heaps of them.
So you would sell those to people that were living in caravan parks, or
Sometimes people that might have a caravan, they were upgrading to some of these. They were called. We had double wide units and we had single wides, and they used to fit aluminium annexes onto them. If you go around to some of the old caravan parks that have got a lot of permanence in, you'll see what I'm talking about, because a lot of them will be Island Star homes.
Island Star homes as well.
Yeah,
Well, we
but
haven't got to Island Star because
that was the 14 years that I was selling homes. That's what we did up until late last century.
late last century. Okay.
Yeah, about 14-year period.
Yeah. So then all of a sudden you've started to see, do they saturate the market after a period of time and you go back to caravans, or what happened in that period where you're famous, not that you want me to use that word, for selling caravans, no doubt about that. So what period of time was in the 80s period?
The 80s, the mid-80s, it was just starting off, these homes, and it gained momentum and it took over from my caravans in a way. I had 2 businesses and one of them wasn't doing really well and the other one was doing really fantastic.
Yeah.
And I made a lot of money out of my homes.
Yeah.
I can remember one year I sold 108 homes, which is quite a few homes.
Yeah.
Quite a few homes to sell. And over a 14-year period, I sold 585 homes. And I closed that business in the late 90s. And then I went and just concentrated on the caravans again, which the caravans were starting to gain momentum again.
So do you think everything in life has a cycle?
It does. It does for sure.
And what you're seeing now in the caravans, did you in the 70s, who knows what you were doing in the 70s, just for the record, but do you see that now?
I see it now, but in probably a stronger way again, because there's no one going overseas and there's no one going... Well,
very few, is it?
Very few.
And
who wants to?
Yeah. What attracted you to caravanning?
I think my parents were caravanners.
Yep.
I can remember going away when I was a kid in the caravan.
How'd they fit all you guys in a caravan? There's like 8 of you.
8 of us. It was a little tiny caravan. I've got a picture of it here, actually.
Yeah. Have you?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. Well, rip it out. I want to see the picture of the caravan.
I've got a picture here somewhere.
Not that anyone can see it, but I want to see it. I want to see. So that's 10 of you cruising around.
10 of us.
Noel's frantic. Noel was actually the first person to have brought in some signage. Very impressive. So anyone need a caravan? Noel's Caravan. The Island.
I should have brought in
Star.
the photo, but...
So it's Dream. Okay, here we go. Yeah.
This is the photo down here of my parents in the caravan with all the kids. And my mum obviously took the shot.
Look at that. We might get that, but check this out. So the whole what car is that? Is that like a...
That was an Oldsmobile.
Okay.
It's an Oldsmobile.
Yeah.
And that was a trip to New South Wales, my dad told me. Yeah.
How good's that? So you've then just carried this on. I can do this.
Well,
It's fun.
I
For
was...
the family.
I went away in a caravan as a kid. I liked it. And now I've taken it on with my family. and now in a bigger way giving it to a lot of other families, so to
Well,
speak, you
it's
know.
a understatement. With your kids, for instance, they're a bit older now. Are they into caravanning?
For sure.
So was it a gradual introduction, or it was a?
No, they went straight. As soon as they had enough money to get their own caravan, they have it. Naomi, my daughter's got her own caravan. She's got a new one on order at the moment, waiting for it. My other girl, Tori, she has a camper trailer because she tows it by herself because she's single and takes the kids away in
Is
the
she?
camper.
Can she reverse?
Can she reverse?
Yeah.
She can reverse.
Oh my God. I was trying to reverse the jet ski down the other day, and I reckon I'm pretty good. And it's a fucking nightmare. For some reason, I couldn't see it because it was behind the four-wheel drive, and I've got my head out the window, slowly using the brake. I had no one guiding me.
Single axle, slowly. Slowly.
So if there's one tip for someone reversing a trailer, what is it?
A single axle, you got to do it really slow.
Because the movement of the hand, it's like
So
it's
if
not
you're-
like the film clips when you're like doing this driving. You have to be really, really slow.
Just a little bit slower.
Yeah.
Not in a big hurry, and just take it easy.
How about the if I'm doing like, because reversing is pretty tough. I'll go as far to say as I don't think Ollie could reverse a car at all.
Reverse my car.
Yeah.
Not a trailer.
With a trailer, he can reverse his car. V, no way. So I think it's definitely a talent. And seeing people, like I got a mate up the river, Nat Barber, he's a good friend of mine, and he can go in between two cars, put the boat in, like he helps people at the dock, I'll do it for you. And that's it's an impressive talent.
It's just something you gain over the years, and I can just sit here and reverse my big caravan with my very quickly and put it into places. The bigger the van, the bit easier it is.
Really?
There's four wheels fighting against one another, so they're not in a hurry to go off on an angle like a single axle wheel.
Correct. You know all about this.
Oh, yeah, I know. And even a six-wheeler you can back it quicker again.
Really?
Well, you got six wheels fighting against one another.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Tip of the day. Slowly. And I've noticed sometimes I do a correction and then I'm like full spinning the hand. And then I'm like, oh, shit, the wrong way again. Like, oh. Do you see that? You must have seen some beautiful, scary reversing in your time.
You see a lot of sometimes in caravan parks when I'm there and I say, do you want me to do it for you?
I can see that. Okay, where's some of the amazing places that you've been that stand out as like, for people that are listening, if you haven't been there, this is a place to go visit. Is there anything that comes to mind?
Oh, look, you're talking Australia or are you talking somewhere in the world?
Oh, you know what? Let's go anywhere. You can do the world and Australia because I think
probably Indiana is one of my favourite places in America. I've been to America 10 times, and Indiana is a favourite place. Up in the Amish people country.
Yeah. So is that?
It's just the style of life, and it's just seems really nice there to me. I've been there 3 times up there. It's where a lot of the caravans are made in that part of the world. In America, they're made in that area.
If I'm an Amish person, am I allowed to have a caravan?
They make caravans. They're hard-working people.
Okay. I see. Are they not allowed to technology or not?
No, they don't have electricity and all that carry on.
Yeah, but they have a nice caravan.
They make caravans.
Okay.
I don't think that they go caravanning. I think that's where they work.
Okay.
Because the caravan people employ them because they've got good work ethics.
So when you went, where's some of the other places you've toured in America? I mean, I love America. I reckon it's a great place.
Look, I've been to, I've been a lot of places.
It's got you on the spot.
New York, I've been 5 times, and
have you been?
I don't really want to go there again.
Have you been to New York with a caravan?
No,
Oh,
no, I haven't been there.
Yeah.
It's probably was one of my goals, which I probably won't achieve now, is to probably go and do a nation and drive with a caravan around it.
Like the whole way.
Yeah.
I think of American travel, and when I'm thinking caravanning, I think I'm thinking they got RVs.
Yeah.
Do you see an RV as cheating?
As what?
As cheating. Like it's
Cheaters?
not real. It's not real caravanning when you're
Oh, look. They're, RV, the word RV is a recreational vehicle.
Yeah.
They start from a tent
Yep.
right through to a bus.
Yeah.
So,
You got no hard feelings with RVs?
no, not at all.
I reckon I'd do RV. Like, I was just making sure you didn't have something wrong with it. It seems easier, you know?
Yeah.
So, what about in Australia? Best place you've taken a caravan?
Best place I've taken a caravan. Okay.
And I'm assuming you've been quite a few places around Australia somehow.
Look, I love Darwin.
Yeah.
I love Darwin. I love Darwin. I'm heading to Darwin this Sunday, actually, for 4 months. I just can't wait to get out of this cold. But never mind. That's the way it is for most of us fellas my age.
Yeah, well, yeah, my old man says the same thing.
That's,
And he's around your age.
yeah.
And when you talk about Darwin, whereabouts, like Humpty Doo?
No, I say it's a place called
Okay.
Lee Point Caravan Park.
Okay.
And we have a good team of us get up there, a lot of great friends, and we have fivesies every night, and it continues into the night sometimes. We just have a great time.
Yeah, that's part of caravanning, huh?
It is a big part of the caravan.
So when you go and catch up with, is it the same group of friends, or do you bring in new recruits, or do you see some youngsters, or is it predominantly old people?
Predominantly people around my own age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you travel,
Yeah.
the grey nomads.
Yeah, they travel and they meet in certain areas, and you're always meeting someone new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you plan those, or like you've been planning this trip for? Yeah. Have you got a new caravan to take at this new trip to Darwin?
Have I got a new caravan?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I've
think
got.
you have.
Yeah, I got a fresh one.
So, I'm assuming someone that sells caravans is into caravanning, is a caravanning icon, would go through a few caravans.
I do, because everyone wants to buy my caravan. So, and I don't know why, you know. I mean, not everyone, because not everyone wants a big caravan like mine. Mine's classed as a big caravan nowadays, a 23.5 foot. But not everyone wants to buy one. But I always seem to sell it when I go to Darwin or somewhere, and I sell it up there because I advertise up that part of the world.
Yeah.
And they know my product, and I put an ad there. If you want to come and talk to Noel, just come and talk to me, and I can show you through my caravan anytime. It's on an ad up there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So you're actually advertising. You're on holiday.
Yeah,
Advertising. I'll give you a walkthrough of my caravan.
it's on display. You can have a look at it while I'm up that way, because I advertise all year up that way. You know, I advertise all year up that way, and people know the name of the brand, and I've got one here. You can have a look at it any time. You can talk to me about caravans, and I take up a few other layouts of different brochures for them. I actually do the show there in June.
Like caravan camping?
It's a four-wheel drive caravan.
Down under?
Caravan and four-wheel drive show type thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's on in about 20th of June or something this year. So I'll be there with my caravan, and but it's not for sale this year. Normally I sell it up there and come back empty.
Really?
Really?
What? So this time, because you might not be able to get another caravan.
Correct. I got another one booked for March next year. My next new one will be here March.
Oh my God.
So I've got to be careful, because I want a caravan so that I can go when I want to go.
Yeah, and totally fair enough. And I think some of the things that people don't actually understand at the moment is that there has been problems. I mean, with our own business, getting certain products and certain things Some stuff has been no problem, no issues. But some things, more with mechanical things, that there's certain parts and whatnot that aren't rocking up on the shores. Now, putting a caravan together. Now, I was fortunate enough to go through your latest caravans and your new one a couple of weeks ago. Putting it all together I don't know how many pieces it takes to put them together, and I'm assuming you use as much local product as you can, but the reality is some of the stuff's got to come from overseas. And you're seeing what we're feeling is some stuff gets through and some stuff doesn't at the moment. That's obviously that's a bit tougher for the caravan industry when you're relying on that.
It's been a real tough time.
Yeah.
Tough time last year because the boom really started and gained a lot of momentum around May last year when people started to realise they couldn't go overseas for a while and made that decision, let's get a caravan. And we're just selling lots and lots of caravans and people are trying to buy all of the eggs out of the basket, so to speak.
So can you explain what all of the eggs out of the basket
Well,
means?
your stock. They're trying to take all the stock that we've got and we don't want to let the stock go. And I think out of probably 12 caravans in the yard at the moment, new ones, there's 3 available for sale. The rest are all sold, but we're letting them have them later in the year.
So what would a normal, like how big, right, your caravan site is huge, just out of Paraka, or is it actually in Paraka?
No, it used to be in Paraka.
Oh, sorry.
Greenfields,
Greenfields.
Mawson Lakes area.
So how big is your site there?
It's about just under 10,000 square metres.
And used to be full of stock, and now it's a lot tougher at the moment.
I need caravans.
Yeah. So if anyone's listening wants to sell a caravan, are you interested in that?
I got my hand in the air. I got my hand in the air. Seriously, we're looking for stock. We are down probably around 100 caravans on what we normally carry in stock.
And that is a lot.
That's a lot of caravans.
Yeah.
It's a headache being in business, having money sitting in the bank where you get nothing for it, and you need stock.
I think you're investing in your own business is a no-brainer, isn't it? About what you can sell.
Correct.
And when your whole business is caravan and it's hard to get your product, when people want to purchase, I'm assuming do people come in, how much do they customise their caravan? Like obviously they can't customise it if it's on the floor, but when someone comes in, what's, back in the early days, what was a caravan? A few grand?
2 or 3 grand.
And what's a caravan?
Well, you didn't custom build back in them days.
It was whatever was there.
They just bought the egg out of the basket.
And now?
Now, well, they have to wait for them, of course.
And what's it go up to, like 100 grand or?
Oh, it's endless. It's endless. It really is endless. Most of the stuff, if they put a lot of gear in it, can go over 100 easy. There's just so many things you can put in a van.
So I'm guessing they're coming with like satellites. No?
Yep.
So I've got Foxtel and...
Correct.
Really? Yeah. So people want all of these things that...
They want all of them. Not everyone, but some of the ones that do it quite regular and want it how they want it, they're spending their money instead of putting pressure on their children and making them spend it when they're dead, I've always said it's not fair to put pressure on your kids.
Oh, that is golden. That's a good way to look at it. So it's called something, isn't it? Isn't it spending my inheritance?
The kids' inheritance or something they call it?
Yeah, it's called something.
Yeah.
So what's the average age of someone buying a new caravan? Is it younger people now?
It is getting younger. It is getting younger. It used to be probably 60 plus, 55 plus. Now it's 40 plus. Because them children that were brought up in caravans are now coming on and buying their own caravans.
Yeah, because they're actually having a look in their own state-owned country.
Correct.
And I think when you're in the caravan, you can if something came up, you could sort of put your caravan and quickly sneak home if you had to. Do you think that's a reason why people don't mind it?
Oh, caravanning lifestyle. You've got to do it.
Yeah, okay.
You've just got to do it because it is. I mean, I can afford to do whatever I want, but I love caravanning.
Yeah.
I just love it. And people, more and more people saying to me that have got their caravans in the last 12 months, they're saying, oh my God, why have I waited so long?
Yeah. And I think that resonates with a lot of people. And, you know, I can see it with them. My old man, he's like, oh, you know, I've been fortunate enough to do a lot of travel. And now, you know, maybe I don't need to travel around the world. And there's so much good stuff in Australia, whether you fly there or caravan. Now, obviously, you want everyone to caravan there. It's so much to look out for and see.
Caravanning is a real leveller with people. You know, you go to a motel, you go in, you shut the door, that's it, Sunday school's over. You know, with caravans, the bloke next door could be worth 10 million or $10.
Yeah.
But they still talk to one another.
Yeah.
They're all on the same level. They love caravanning.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I'm assuming it's a lot. I mean, when you're in a hotel, you bump in, you almost don't talk to other people.
Correct.
And I'm assuming, I haven't done much. I have when I was a bit younger, I'll be honest. But I'm assuming you go to a caravan park and then everyone sits there and chats.
Everyone sits, g'day. They talk to you as you're going by. Come and sit down and have a drink with us. You know, you just get to know people.
Yeah.
I mean, at my caravan park up the river, they congregate all around the area where the camp, kitchen, barbecue area is, which overlooks the water there at Blanchetown.
Yeah.
And they all sit there and talk, or they meet at their own caravans and talk out the front, you know. They congregate their little groups, you know. It's just a great lifestyle.
So you said Darwin was a great place for you to go. Where's some more obscure places in Australia that a lot of people might not have dragged a caravan to? I had a mate of mine, they would take their boat from SA to Broome. And in the end they rattled the suspension off the boat, and he had to sit there with an esky waiting for the guys while they went and get a tyre to repair. They had to get a welder to repair it. That didn't sound like fun to me, but he seemed to have a ball, had a few drinks for the next 24 hours while someone went and got something. Have you been somewhere that's a little bit, you know?
Oh, the Flinders Ranges I've been a few times. I'm not really into roughing it and going over real rough roads.
No, I couldn't.
There's a few people that do like that sort of thing, but I'm not one of them. Being a caravan park owner, I patronise the caravan parks, and I got my favourite little areas, but overall I just love caravanning. You know, I just love it. Getting to the site, I always get off the road by 3 or 4 o'clock, and
so you can have a few drinks.
So you can sit down and get ready and set up and into a bottle of red for the night, you know.
So is caravanning like fishing, where no one wants to give away the good location?
It's probably a little bit like that sometimes, because you don't if you tell too many people, they won't get their favourite spot or something, or they have to book longer or whatever, you know. Look. Yeah, you talk about favourite places. The Kimberleys is another one up in the top of Western Australia. That's a great area to go. And
the top of Western Australia. So how do you get there from SA? Do you drive up?
Well, when I did this particular one of the things was a cruise of the Kimberleys, and that was a sensational trip.
I reckon that'd be freaking awesome.
I've been on 19 cruises in my time, but that would have been the best one I've been on. The Kimberley cruise, it was just sensational.
Okay.
And that's in Australia.
Yeah, that's in Australia. So are they the ones like on the northern like in the northern
bight up the
top?
Yeah, where you've got the horizontal falls and a lot of that area there. There's a group, there's an area which is pretty condensed with a lot of scenic places to go to, and that's the one I did. And where the boat doesn't, the one I went on was where the boat stops at night time, and you can see the real Kimberley. Yeah. You've got sharks swimming around the lights of the boat. You've got crocodiles swimming in the water around you. It's just a sensational part of the world.
Yeah,
just sensational.
That sounds awesome. I've heard about that. I think my old man's actually started talking. He's done that and said it was one of the most spectacular things he's done. Is there also, when you talk about, you're not just talking about caravanning, you're talking about travelling pretty much.
Well, yeah, that's what we were talking about. We got a bit sidetracked there when you said in Australia, and I remember that as being my best cruise that I've done.
Yeah. So is that, do you think that everyone should be able to travel and in a modern day world where people are working their guts out, slaving away, and then do you think everyone should be travelling, or is it for everyone travelling, or?
Well, I think everyone should travel and have a look out there in their backyard.
So do you think you've travelled more than most?
Oh, I think I have, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been to Europe 6 years out of 7 in a row, just about, I'm Europed out. And America 10 times. I really don't need to go to these places anymore, But yeah, I love my caravanning now, and that's sort of what I do, I just enjoy it.
Well, Noel's, you were established in 1974, which is obviously going back a while. And you've seen the caravan industry grow and crash, and now back in growth again. What do you think's in sight for the industry in the next 10 years or so?
Look, we never know what's around the corner. You've just got to adjust the sails to the wind, as the saying goes, in business. But I would say the caravan industry is going to be in a boom for some time to come.
Yeah.
For some time to come. Because more and more people are finding out about it. And, yeah, I really think it's going to continue to grow for a long time to come.
Do you think that, this is personal opinion, so do you think you'll see any more outbreaks, so to speak, of viruses, whether it's COVID or whatever? Do you think you're going to see more of that? And how does it make you feel when, we shut down whole cities because 5 people have got COVID or 30 or 100? What's your
my thoughts? Well, Australia is Australia.
Yeah.
We are one nation. This closing borders, opening and closing them every 10 minutes, it's annoying. It's hard to work with. I think it's time wasting for people on the borders checking people and all this sort of thing.
Yep.
Look, the government have done a good job overall keeping things right, but honestly, sure, probably when Victoria were having that real bad outbreak, closed Victoria down for a while. I think that's understandable, but 5 or 10 here or there, it's like, if we remember back in 2019, 400 odd people died of influenza.
Yeah.
How many died of influenza last year?
Yeah.
Not very many.
Yeah.
So,
I think I was one of those people. I was quite happy to build a moat around Victoria.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a fair assumption.
But when there's only a few, like when they shut us down here for 10 minutes.
That was an interesting point. I mean, the longer story of that was the information was probably wrong.
Yeah.
It's funny how this pizza man was everywhere.
Yeah.
Might have been doing something it wasn't meant to be doing. But, I think Victoria would look good as another island like Tasmania.
Well,
think?
if you look at Australia, I sort of like the look of Australia the way it is as a nation, If you take Australia out of it or one of the other states out of it, it'll look a bit not balanced somehow.
Yeah, you're right. It would look a bit different.
Yeah.
And I think people forget how big Australia is.
God, It's a long way. It's a long way because I've travelled in the caravan and it's a big piece of dirt. Big piece of dirt.
I've done the drive, not with the caravan, to Queensland a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Straight through the middle, sort of, as direct as possible.
Yeah.
It's a long drive.
It's a very long drive.
And people forget that Perth to Sydney is literally LA to New York.
Correct. It is. It's that big.
It's that big.
It's like 5 or 6 hours of crossing a plane, whatever it is.
Yeah, and I when we for our own business, we went into Queensland, and I remember getting a message from one of the departments going, "Well, can you just go up there and see why they haven't sent it?" And I'm like, "You realise that's an 8-hour drive to just go up there and see, because you underestimate the size of it."
8-hour drive to Queensland from here?
No. When I was in Queensland, I was running Queensland.
Oh, sorry.
And they were saying, "Can you just go and ask them why they're doing it?" And I said, "You realise that's an 8-hour drive, an hour and a half in a plane for me to go and ask something?" Because you forget, because on the map it looks about that much.
Yes.
So you forget about it.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. It's like Brisbane to Darwin. It's like 3,600 kilometres, and Adelaide to Darwin is 3,000 kilometres.
Yeah.
You'd think it's more, but it's still Queensland's a very big state, a very big state.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. And that's why I wondered, have you done the Nullarbor Plain much with
Yes,
Tony
I've done
Caravan?
it. I've done it.
So been to Ceduna.
I've been to Ceduna and
Margaret
across
River?
to Perth.
I haven't been to Margaret River. Everyone says it's beautiful.
Yeah, if I've been there, that's quite a nice place.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's all about the company you're with, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think the place needs to be good or the people?
A bit of both, I think.
Oh, dear. Rightio. So, your jingle.
My jingle.
Now, it's been stuck in my head for days now, and I think it got stuck in my head last time I left you. How did the jingle come about?
It was about, I think, 15 years ago.
Yep.
I said I needed a new television ad, and my creative people that I had doing it, which was Michael Forrest from Creative Forest, was the name of the company. Do you know Michael?
No, but that Michael Forrest from Creative Forest, he really got
Well, that's
all
what he
out.
called himself.
He's gone
Creative
all
Forest.
He's gone all out with that name.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
he was the one that got some fellas together, and they come up with this little jingle, and it just stuck. And I just will never ever take it out of my ads. Unfortunately, it'll always be there.
So let's see. It's the best. Whose voice is that?
Who? What?
Do you know whose voice that is? It sounds like a Jamaican guy.
It does sound like that, and it's amazing. It's a very talented Australian, I found out, because I was asked to find out one time.
People would be asking you all the time. I mean, what year did you sort this? Because you have stuck to the tune since when? When actually?
Look, as
reckon
I said,
this was
it was early this century. Like, if I had to say 205, 206,
Yeah, I can't.
we developed it.
I haven't got a date here, but you can't forget it.
No, something very special, isn't it? Something very, very special.
You can't. It sounds like a Jamaican guy. I can imagine being in Barbados, maybe smoking a bit of weed. This song takes me back. It's unforgettable.
Okay, and there was a very unforgettable night. I don't know. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, for sure.
With Malcolm Blight one time.
Okay, well, that sounds ominous.
I was in a place called Tennant Creek, and I was on my way back here from Darwin back in 2019. It was 2019, And if you look it up on the front bar on the 4th of September, you'll get the Malcolm Blight when he was on there talking about, because they rang me in Tennant Creek, this fella from the front bar, and he rang me and he said, can we use your ad and we just want to take the piss out of Malcolm Blight. And I said, yeah, go for it. Now, I didn't know what to expect because they were just lucky to get me. I was driving through Tennant Creek at the time, and you don't get much telephone communication between here and Darwin. So I was in Tennant Creek and I said, yeah, go for it. Anyway, I got to Glendambo a couple of nights later and watched it on the television there. And to my surprise, it was just unbelievable. National television.
National television. Couldn't have done anything.
They said, Malcolm Blight, now changed to a caravan salesman. They were taking the piss out of him. Yeah. My old mate Malcolm, and he he rang me that night and said how good it was, and the next day I rang him again, and I had people ringing me everywhere. No, you've hit the jackpot. Bloody national television. And they didn't just stop at ringing my ad. They done the tune at the end of most of the when they had a closure for an ad. And one time then they said, because they had this other bloke on there at the time, I just figured his name.
Not Neil. Oh, no, you're talking about the front bar guys?
The front bar. Malcolm.
No.
The Queensland, the Brisbane coach. What was he?
Wally Lewis.
No. No, Brisbane.
Brisbane. No, he's the AFL. Was the Bears? Was it the Bears coach?
Yeah,
I can see him. I can't. I see it, but I can look there. Okay, Noel's gone to the glasses. I just can't remember his name. Coach of the Brisbane Bears. Who? Lee Matthews.
Lee Matthews.
Yes.
That's him. Yeah, Lee Matthews.
Yes. Well done.
Lee Matthews. He's on there from Lee Matthews, and he when they were sort of finishing off their thing, they said, "Now, for you, Lee, we have a plate of meat tray for you to take home, and thanks very much for coming in. And for you, Malcolm, we have the Noel's Caravan Singers." And all these ladies and fellas come in, all dressed up, and started to sing the song.
Really?
And I thought, how good advertising is this?
That is golden.
It was unbelievable.
So Malcolm Blight, he when he was with the Crows, I was living in West Lakes, and I was living with Dad. I was driving down. This is a story. I don't think I've told anyone. So my mate, I was driving down, and as we were driving down, there was a park just before where Dad's house was, and there was this unbelievably hot chick playing with her dog, and I was driving, and I went, fuck. So saw the girl. Dad dropped me off, got changed, got my skateboard, gave my mate Ben Shaw, went up there, and there was this girl there, and she was unbelievably hot. Malcolm Blight had just moved to Adelaide, and that was his daughter. There you go.
Oh, okay.
See? No one's ever heard that.
She was rather tidy.
She was unbelievably tidy. And so I must have been 15 or 14 or something like that. But I clearly remember it because I was like sitting in the car, quickly got changed, come back on a skateboard, acted really cool. Yeah. And I can't even remember her name, but I'm sure she can remember mine.
Fair enough.
So that was my brush of fame with Malcolm Blight. And it didn't even have anything to do with Malcolm Blight.
Fair enough.
So you formed some pretty, that was pretty good for you. Was Malcolm Blight like an influencer back in the day?
Look, I've always loved the guy when he when he got the 2 trophies for the Crows. I think a lot of South Australian people loved it. It was just a special time for the Crows, and So going on further than that, how did I get Malcolm Blight? You're probably going to say.
It is. That's a pretty good start. How did you get Malcolm Blight? And you were friends with Neil Curley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mate Neil Curley.
So did you play football or not?
I did as a child. Yeah, as a kid. I played football. Yeah. But I give it away pretty well and got married early, and I didn't worry about it too much. Football for very long, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't do it for very long.
Mate, married at 18, houses.
19, yeah.
Yeah, like that started everything very early.
Yes, that's right.
And then look at you, the happiest man alive.
Sorry?
Happiest man alive
Oh,
starting it.
I'm still happy, yeah. We'll drink to that.
Drink to that. But started early.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't afraid.
Yeah, get out there and have a go.
Yes.
School was a waste of time, as I said earlier.
Yeah, it's a big topic for me because it appeared, my girls are going to school and, they want them to do all this homework and they're in year 1 and 2 and I've expressed my concerns with that homework. Like, I know the world's changed, but, people find out the system's changed enough that if you want to find something out, you pretty much Google it these days. And it's hard to keep up with something changing so fast. And it's about the person's drive and how they get that, and I don't think that's easy to get, and not every parent has that because they're ingrained. Go to school, go to uni, get a job, work for someone. But I don't think there's enough people strong enough to say no. You've got to really do what you love. Talking to you, it's pretty clear. You love it, and none of it's work. It's, yep, I was doing that. That worked for me. Hey, other people can rent some stuff. Oh, yeah, I can do that. I can sell caravans because I can sell stuff. And it's pretty common thread, but I see with my eyes, I got plenty of people with lots of money that aren't happy. And I've got plenty of dudes with no money that are very happy. So somewhere in the middle is the balance, and not many people find it.
Yeah, we're all different. We can't all be the same.
And with kids, when I see my kids coming home and they're doing bloody homework for like an hour, and I'm thinking, what the fuck is the school doing? Like, why is a 1 or 2 year old and they bugger around because they're tired and they don't want to be reading another book but you get work to do for the kids and they say, oh, the other kids at school are doing it. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about the other kids at school. I want these kids to come out and have life skills, because life skills is what I believe gets you through life. Funny enough, I'm more street. My wife is more education. So she can read a book and remember the whole thing. And I can do something wrong 20 years ago. And she goes, oh, I remember that time on that Monday night at 4 o'clock when you said this. And I'm like, fuck. My memory ain't that good. And I forget anything that, really doesn't change the future. So for me, I can move on, but I see it with my own kids and having to deal with it. It's pretty tough to hold a bit of a firm ground. And trust me, everyone at the school knows what I think of it, but it's hard because you've got to balance it up with your own kids. And I think it's an interesting playing field that obviously some things you need extra qualifications. If you're being a brain surgeon or vets, they seem to be the what you need to have a higher level. I totally understand that, but when you're young, you don't know what you want to do.
Yeah,
you did pretty early.
Well, pretty early, probably. Yeah, just get out and work and get a quid, And I found my niche early, Yeah, probably. But yeah.
How were we talking about kids, by the way? We totally got sidetracked because that wasn't what we were talking about. Malcolm Blight.
We were talking about Blighty, yeah.
Yeah. So then, how you obviously went, geez, this has worked well for me.
Well, having had curls there for a while.
Yeah.
My old mate Noel, and he was up at my caravan park one day. Him and Barb's, his wife, and we were sitting on the deck. And I said, "What are we going to do?" Because we were celebrating his 80th, having a drink. And what am I going to do, mate, when you hand in your clogs? I said, who am I going to get to take over from you? And Barb's pipes up and suggests one or two, and it sort of just got left there, In the end, another name come in. He come and bought a caravan from me, Mark Rasciuto.
Yep.
He come and bought a caravan from me, and I said, Mark, do you want to do an ad for me? And he didn't seem real keen, like he said, he didn't seem real keen, but he said, yeah, I'll do one for you. But at
Did
the
he ask for a
time,
discount?
he asked for a discount. I always look after people. But he didn't really want to do the job, I don't think,
Yeah.
And you've got to have someone that's keen to do the job for you. So it just lapsed for 2 or 3 years. And Neil just kept doing it. And then Blighty come back to town,
Yeah.
which was about 4 years ago. And I went up to Neil's place one day and sat on his deck overlooking the river there at Walker Flat. And I said, Neil, what about Malcolm Blight? Malcolm Blight's your man, Noel. He's your man. I'll ring him. I'll get him organised. Sure enough, as Curls makes things happen, that was the Saturday night I was at Curls' place. Thursday, I meet Malcolm Blight. He comes down the yard. He walks in, big tall man. He says to me, Noel, he said, my brother has ordered a caravan from you. And I said to my daughter Naomi, is there a Blight in the system? She said, yeah, Barry Blight. He said, yeah, that's him. If he's bought a caravan from you, I'll do your ads.
What? Really?
That was his brother had ordered a new caravan, and it was.
How good is that?
Yeah, he said, if my brother Barry bought a caravan from you, I'll do your caravans. So we just got on very well together. We're similar age, and he's been happy to do it since, and he'll probably be happy to do it for a while to come.
So, with everything changing, now we don't want to alarm Blighty, but maybe it might be time to approach his daughter about a new ad of going for the younger crowd.
You're on the wrong train there, I think, JP. Wrong train.
Poor Blighty. We didn't want to put him out of a job. Come on. So I'm assuming, like most big events, caravanning has a big world conference or a big world trade show, a big world show. Does the caravanning industry have this? And
They do.
is it in Vegas or is it in somewhere big where in America or, somewhere where you've been and you've seen some amazing things in caravanning?
Kentucky.
Okay.
Kentucky in America one time.
Yeah, bourbon country.
Big trade show over there, and also one in Germany, which is a big one.
It's not Dusseldorf.
That's on every year. Sorry,
Dusseldorf.
Dusseldorf. That's the one. You got it right off. Dusseldorf.
Okay. Yeah.
And
so, have you been to these?
I've been to them. Yeah.
And where do you get some of your inspiration from? I mean, we haven't quite talked about how amazing the caravans you have are, specifically the Island Star,
Yeah.
the Dreamer. I was calling it the Island Dream for a while. It's like, no, Island Star. Where do you get some of your inspiration? I mean, you're a heavy caravaner, so you must have your own ideas.
I do.
But I was blown away to see. I wasn't surprised, but when I saw the caravans and literally every spot has a use, like all of a sudden there becomes a barbecue. There's your fridge. There's your shower. There's a washing machine, dryer.
Yeah. And down here's the dishwasher.
Dishwasher. Like it's as good as you could possibly imagine.
Yes.
For something that's mobile for a start. Where do you come up with your ideas? Do you see stuff at these trade shows? Because I'm assuming I'm in the supermarket game and we go to trade shows and we see amazing things with new products or anything like that. And you sit there and go, okay, these are all coming. These are things in the future, like robots that clean your floor, that talk to people. Do you see something big like that in caravanning or not?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
It's pretty. So what you see is what you get.
Yeah, well, look, we keep trying new things, and you've got to go caravanning.
Yeah.
Like I do, like my staff does, and when something new comes out, as I've instructed my manufacturers, Put it in.
Yeah.
Let's have it. Put it in my vans. I want the best.
Because you've got electric plates. You've also got like the gas as well, but you have full electric plates that you can cover it, so it acts as a bench. Your ovens, so that these are just some of the things I've seen.
Yes.
But you introduced that quite quickly into your
As soon as
design.
I see something different, I want it to be in mine.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that was back last century. We'd started doing that with the electric plate, with the other 3 gas. Yeah.
I gotta love hearing last century because you are the only person to talk about last century. It's like, it throws me off a bit. I'm like, last century, okay, okay. You're the
Well,
only.
you were born last
Yeah,
century.
I know. The way you say it's like, oh, that was last century. Like someone be listening.
In
to
other
this
words, it's a long time ago. It's like when we buy in a caravan and someone comes in and they've got their tail between their legs and they say it's a 1996 model. Oh, well, that was last century.
Now I know why you say that. Okay, I like it. No,
I have a lot of sayings.
Yeah,
I probably should have bought the T-shirt that my daughter gave me for my 70th. It's got a lot of my T-shirt, a lot of sayings on it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's just something
So
you could have on the
when you
party.
see the stuff, like obviously the big trade show doesn't cut it for you. You've got your own,
Well,
like your stuff is.
I must
practical.
admit, at my age, I don't worry about going to these trade shows anymore.
Yeah.
I'm trade showed out,
Yeah.
and conferenced out. I don't go to conferences anymore.
Someone in your business?
Yeah, someone in the business, they go to the shows and have a look around, see if they can pick up any new ideas or anything and keep on the ball with things. But myself personally, no.
So caravans, lots of things moving to battery.
Batteries.
Will everything be electric? Are we going to see a Tesla caravan one day, or is everything going to be electric at some stage? Because I notice you seem to have a bit.
It's heading that way.
It's heading that way, isn't it? I notice you still have your gas,
Yeah.
which you don't need power for.
Yeah.
So
No, solar and batteries is a big thing, for my brother's very big up on it. He's got so many solar panels on his roof of his caravan, and he cooks his coffee, out in the middle of nowhere. It just does everything, So
if you put solar panels on the top of the,
it's filling up the batteries
Yep.
and it gives it enough power with inverters to run all that sort of stuff,
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck, it's come a long way.
Oh, it has.
Like,
And I always say to people at shows when they say, wow, and I just say to myself, this is going to be so old-fashioned in 5 years' time. I don't know where we're going to go, but in 5 years' time, this will be an oldie.
yeah, well, you showed me old, on the showroom floor
Yeah.
where I saw some old caravans. Well, I think Ollie saw them too because he was looking at one to get him and his mates. And then when you see the size of them to what they are now, you're talking 23 foot. You've gone from 6 foot, maybe 10 foot caravans to 23 foot. It's.
But they used to be big a long time ago, JP. They used to be real big. A lot of caravans. It wasn't unusual back in the 60s to have 26-footer, and they used to pull them behind an HR Holden or something.
My old man used to tow caravans, and I have a fond memory of him because we used to have up at a shack where he bought a parcel of land and used to take the boat backwards and forwards, and then he built a garage to put the boat in, and he had a caravan there. So he used to drive up and stay in the caravan, and we were towing the boat back. And I remember we were coming down. It was back on Eagle on the Hill days. And as we're coming down, we were getting swung around by the caravan.
Oh, gee.
It wasn't exactly fun,
No.
but I remember it.
Oh, look.
So,
Coming down hills with a caravan, you've got to go slow.
Yeah. My man's not famous for going slow. So
No, well,
now you mention that, Noel.
no, seriously.
Oh.
It's just a very important thing when people say, what is some of the things to look out for when you're towing a caravan? That is one of my bit of a, you know.
So, Noel, top tips for when towing a
Well,
caravan.
don't go fast going downhill. It can get out of control on you.
Yeah.
You know, because
I remember.
sometimes it can be pushing you. And I've been at the bottom of Accommodation Hill and I've seen 2 caravans on their side where people, and you know what's happened, they've just been going down there too fast.
Yeah.
You know this big freeway we've got up here coming into Adelaide?
Yeah.
You know how they make the trucks do 60?
Yeah.
The caravans should be made to do 60 as well.
Yeah.
When I'm pulling a caravan down there, I pull into that lane and I do about probably 70. If I come up to a truck, I might just get around him and stay in front of him. I might do 70 at the most, you know.
Yeah.
But I come down that hill slowly because it's bloody dangerous, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Do you think the electric brakes are helping? Because our boat, we need
They
to
are,
tow.
but they're getting hotter and hotter because you're braking all the time in that big long hill.
Yeah. Okay. So what's another tip for towing? Go slow downhill.
Another big tip I'd give would be when you have trucks coming up behind you. Truckies do about 100. Caravanners, most of them do about 90.
Yep.
The trucks like you to keep going along at 90 until they're ready to get around you. But you must leave a gap in front of you. You don't get real close to your mate in front of you. You got to leave a gap so that he can get around you.
Yeah.
And then he'll get around the next caravan.
Yep.
We've all got to share the road. And so what I do when a truck's coming up behind me, I just keep the pace going along. And when he pulls out to pass me, I shut my cruise control down and just let it run, let him get around me quickly, and then I just pick it up again.
So
It's just a simple thing, leave gaps and keep your speed going along at what you're going at, you know?
And is there another tip? So that's 2. Is there a third tip? I mean, I like the reverse slowly.
The reverse slowly, it's just, I need to draw it on a piece of paper, but to show you an easy way to reverse, it's so that you don't reverse blind, you're reversing so you can see
Where you've gone.
See the back of it coming around.
Yeah. That's
You know,
the key.
and if you come from that way to come in here, you know, you're backing in blind into a gateway, I'm saying.
Yeah, and I've because when we reverse the jet ski and you've got the ramp, which the boat does, but if you don't see that part there, you actually can't. You actually can't see where it is because it's down like this.
Yeah, you're guessing. Yeah, I know.
Guessing. So I hear that you don't mind Mercedes Benzes. Is that true?
I've had 21 of them in my time.
That's a really?
Well, I don't want to put too much pressure on my children and make them spend the money that I'm too lazy to. So I get a fresh car every couple of years.
Do you keep them or do you
No,
keep?
I don't keep them. I get rid of them.
No, keep moving.
I just get a fresh one.
Have you haven't got like an old classic, you know?
Oh, look, I did have.
350
I went through that.
SL
I went through that period.
Is it a period?
It's a chapter. I'll call it a chapter if you like. I went through that chapter. Chapters of our lives, eh? You got to get it from. You can only get these sort of things from old blokes. Chapters of our lives. Yes, I went through a chapter like that where I had a 6-car garage. I had a convertible Mercedes. I had my normal drive Mercedes. The wife had a Mercedes. And I also had a Lincoln, a big American car, a Lincoln, 2-door Lincoln.
My old
coupe.
man loves Lincolns.
Yeah. I had one of them for 20 years. And it was my little baby.
It's like a limousine.
Yeah. I called it my little 20-footer.
They are big cars.
Oh, look at
Was
that.
it a Lincoln
It
Town
had
car?
a snout on it from here to that corner away.
Is that the Lincoln Town car? Or
No, that wasn't a town car. It was a Lincoln Continental.
Continental?
It was a 1975 model, 2-door coupe.
Wow.
And everyone asked me to do their weddings in it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They're massive cars.
I did. Over the 20 years, I don't know how many weddings I did in it. Like friends of friends and all that sort of stuff, yeah. Anyway.
So you've seen lots happen with the industry and how it's all evolved, and you've said that you don't know what's ahead, but at least the caravans you're producing now, using every new toy possible, they've got Foxtel TVs, washing machines, dishwashers, dryers. They've got the outdoor parts have, the parts that you can pull and put your enclosures in.
Yep.
They've got barbecues. They've got eskies. It's kind of like a boat, like, a modern, luxury boat. Every little nook and cranny is used. And that's what I see with what's coming out with caravans.
It is. Look, it is. And as I say, I really don't know how we're going to improve them much more than we've got them now. I really don't know.
But did you think that 5 years ago?
Well, 5 years ago, we have improved them. They are better. You look in a 5 or 6 year old caravan and you say, I'll go for this one.
Yeah.
They go for a fresh one.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah.
And you show them, hey, you could get this or you could get this.
It's like they changed the models of cars. You don't want the old one anymore. You want the fresh one.
So there's a tip there, Noel's caravans changing model shape. So if you look at like everything that you've done and what you're doing now, you appear to be loving what you're doing.
I am getting tired, to be honest with you, JP. Tired.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people work for me over the years, and I've got a lot of people that have worked for me. Well, I've got one that's worked for me for 35 years, and another one that's worked for me for 33 years, and another one that's worked for me for 25 years.
Wow.
And
sounds like Drake's.
yeah, we're a close knit family. I think once they come with and stay work for me for a while, they like it there and they tend to stay on. So I try and look after the staff and make sure they're all happy, and we try and run a good boat, Yeah. Sorry, what was the question?
No, so I was going to ask, you seem really happy in everything that you're doing, right?
Yeah, that's what I was leading up to say, that I'm getting tired and I don't really want to hand the drains over. Mm-hmm. I only live at Mawson Lakes, which is only around the corner from my business.
Yeah.
So I can slip in there for 2 or 3 hours a day, talk to customers, and customers like to talk to me.
Oh, well, it's the highlight of going there.
It's not really a highlight. I'm just a standard bloke, but you know what I mean? Like, I like to give my experiences and my knowledge, and I always generally say to them, look, I'm not here all the time. If you need someone, you'd speak to him or her and Naomi or Vince and get them. They will look after you,
So I can see, any family members in the business?
Naomi, my daughter.
Okay, yep.
And a lot of people think Vince is my son. That's okay. I just say, yeah, my son. Because I treat him like one. Yeah. And he treats me like his father.
That's really, and I'm sure they obviously appreciate that. It's like, I think with Dad, like he loves, he's in the stores probably more than most of the execs. He's talking to customers, he's talking to staff, and we've said, Dad, why are you actually good? We'll let you continue to do it. Is that the feeling that you get? You still
you're good.
Like, he's still got input, still passionate, still has drive, still wants to grow, still is interested in what's going on. And I think it's fascinating to see that he doesn't see it as work, and I don't think you see it as work. He's why he's still got it. He should still be doing as much as he wants, and he can do what he wants. Like, he can come in when he wants.
Sounds like we're very similar.
It sounds like you're very similar.
Very similar. We just, it's an interest to me. And I think if that was taken away from me, I don't know what. I'd just continue to go caravanning, I suppose. But
you'd be dead.
Yeah, they say that, don't they?
You retire, boom, you drop.
You've got to keep moving, and I think I'll continue to do that for a while. I'll just hold on to the reins and just go in there and go for when I can. Like, I won't be there for 4 months. Yeah. Come this weekend.
Yeah, and will it run as like Noel's not here?
I've got Rob Frost, been with me 33 years. He runs the show.
Yeah.
you've got Vince and you've got Naomi. Between the three of them and Christine in the office, they know what's going on.
Yeah.
They know what's going on, and they work it out. Greg in the workshop, they all do a good job in the team. And yeah.
So I noticed you got arthritis.
Yeah, I got it pretty bad in the hands. It's
Pretty messed
you know,
up
you
hands there.
can't put my hand down. It's it's a bit messy, you know. Yeah.
So does that affect driving or does that affect caravanning? Like, you know, is there stuff that you go, get the
I
missus
get
over?
frustrated if I can't open a bottle of wine. I have no, but seriously, I can't really do it anyway. I have this little machine to open, a thing that I hold onto to get a bottle of wine open.
Do you have many
I can't open
screws?
a bottle of water. I'd never open that bottle of water.
Okay, so see how does much of your wine have cork or?
Oh, look, it's a bit of both. When I get a cork nowadays, I sort of shudder sometimes.
Yeah, so I've got this thing. It's a pin. You just push it in and press it, and it pops it out.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. The one that I've got, talking about bottles of wine, I've got a couple lately which have had a bit of plastic all around the top of them.
Yeah, the plastic on the top.
I don't like that because my fingers can't get to. I've got to try and get it off.
You can't get it off.
And it's a nightmare for me.
No one's thinking about this.
No one has got it organised with arthritis. No, seriously, they don't think of it. You know, I mean, and like me, I've got no strength in my hands.
Yeah.
And my feet are similar, you know, full of arthritis. But never mind. We're all given a different ticket.
Everyone's given a different ticket. So I'm a big natural medicine person.
Mm-hmm.
I like my CBD. I like my mushrooms. I think things that are naturally produced have a valuable impact on the human body. They're here for a reason. I wouldn't say I'm religious or anything like that, but I think they're there for some reason at all. I think the CBD with arthritis, there's no doubt there is room for it because it helps with pain. Do you have any, you're an open-minded person. Is there something that you believe in with CBD have you ever tried it? Does it help with your arthritis? Because I think it really helps with arthritis in a lot of people. Do you have any thoughts on that?
CBD oil?
Yep, CBD oil.
I take it.
Yeah.
Morning and night. I was able to drop one tablet by half. I used to take 2 a day, now I only take 1 a day.
Yeah.
And I could probably just about do away with it now.
Okay.
I've been on CBD oil for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And I go for the bit strongest one. It's a bit more expensive, like everything, but it seems to work better. Yeah. But yeah, CBD oil, I'm a great believer of it.
There's no doubt that my mum, she's on all sorts of shit, and oxycodone, all opioids, and I'm like, Mum, have you tried natural, like CBD oil? And she's like, oh no, you can't. And I'm like looking at my mum, going, like, you understand that it's natural. All the stuff you're taking now is full opioid, and you're sitting there telling me that I don't know if I can have that. I said, I don't understand why there's a disconnect there, and it feels that we seem to be lagging behind in the way perception of CBD oil is. We seem in Australia, that's a very progressive country, seem to be way behind.
Correct. We are way behind in that, in my opinion. We are way behind. They haven't even legalised it yet, I don't believe, in all states,
No, they haven't at all.
So,
and you can get prescription CBD oil, but it's so few and far between that, most of the CBD is bought on the black market because people, I don't know, I just know I can get it from this person. When you look at all the research into CBD, it seems like a no-brainer, but I believe because the big pharma doesn't make money from it, it's not something that's pushed. I think that's got to change.
That's the exact reason. It's not Japanese arithmetic to work it out.
Japanese arithmetic. Okay. But
it's just a saying. Instead of saying it's not rocket science. Because that used to be the old saying back last century.
Oh, but now they've got rockets all the time. Oh no,
So we just say it's not Japanese arithmetic.
that is gold. I love that. But it to me, I see it with my mum, and I'm like, Mum, like you got to understand, Mum, like that you need to be using natural things. Try, and then for her, she's on high dosages of big pharma products, and it fucks with your head. It's not good for your kidneys. Like there's so many things there that I get concerned with, and
Yeah.
I wondered, you're a young man, but the arthritis is real.
Oh, yeah, the arthritis is definitely real.
And it's not something like you think and you can't just flatten it out. It's only really to stop the pain. Is that fair to say?
It stops the pain a bit, and the colder temperatures make it worse. So that's why I want to get out of here and go to Darwin.
So these cold mornings and nights they'd be killing you.
Yeah, soldier's bold. I hate the soldier's bold.
So what I want to know, if you weren't doing what you're doing now and you could do anything in the world, anything, what would you be doing? And you could do anything. Let's say, they'll say you could travel anywhere, you could go to space, you could sit and, I don't know, eat lollipops on Mars. What would you be doing?
I don't think I'd change anything.
Wow.
I don't really think I want to go and do it. I've done the world how many times, I don't know.
So for me, I'd be an F1 driver, right? Like, probably not talented enough. Definitely don't have enough money. But that's what if I could do anything on the planet, I would do that. So
you're like a fast car. Yeah, well, you're right. I've been down that chapter.
I like the chapters. Come back.
I like that chapter too because it was, and I used to have a little C63.
Yep.
Mercedes C63. Yep. Used to go quicker than last week's pay.
Oh, wow, that's good. I like that. Okay.
You're liking my sayings,
eh? They're so good. I get to hear these classic sayings from, I'll be honest, from my old man and Bob, my boss. The things that you hear, I've started to write Bob's sayings down because I don't know where they come from, but they're golden when they're delivered. Okay, so I've had a few people say exactly what you have. No, I'll be doing what I'm doing now. Yeah. If you could go back and speak to a 15 or 16-year-old Noel, or some other 15 or 16-year-old out there that might be listening to this, what do you wish you'd known when you first started out? So what do you wish you'd known when you'd first started out that you could give the advice to this person today?
Look, I think I would tell them that story that I started out with about when I was selling tyres.
Yeah.
But I think there's a couple of things that I would say to people. Never borrow money on things that don't make money. Is one that I give to my grandchildren when I give them a little bit of advice.
Yep. That's great. That actually is. I've never heard someone say it like that.
Do not borrow money on things that don't make money. In other words, cars don't make money.
Yeah, correct.
So save up and buy one.
Yep.
Go and collect bottles. Go and do this. Go and do that. Sell newspapers as I used to when I was a kid. Collect bottles and save up and buy it.
Yeah,
and, pay cash for it. I taught my girls how to do it.
Yeah.
That's a story. Do you want to hear that?
Yeah, you better believe I want to hear that. And I just might to say, so if someone's thinking of getting a loan to buy a caravan, forget that story. All right, go.
Caravans don't lose as much money as cars. They don't. No, seriously, they don't.
No, I was just being facetious. Let's hear about the story with your daughter.
My two girls, when they wanted to pay cash for their cars, I told them how to pay taught them how to save. Their grandmother died and left them $2,500 each.
Yep.
Dad, how are we going to pay cash for a car? Because cars are up to 5 and 10 grand.
Yep.
I said, well, what you do is we'll go out one Saturday morning and we'll buy a caravan privately from somewhere. So we'll go and buy a caravan. Let's say we pay 2 grand for this one. And then you can put it in my yard, clean it up yourself, make sure it's clean and tidy and presented, and then you put 3.5 on it.
Yep.
Customer comes in, it gets sold for 3.5. You teach them the business rules. The company has to make at least 10%.
Yep.
So you've got to give 10% of the profit to the company. And you now have, let's say round figures, 3 grand in your pocket. We had to fix this. We had to throw in a spare tyre.
Yep.
You've now made $1,000. Then you go and buy a $3,000 caravan. And then you'll sell that one for 4.5. So they did that a few times. And they both paid cash for their first car. But you just got to teach your kids.
Yeah.
You just got to teach them.
Yep. And
So that was a lesson that how I got my kids underway. And Naomi, my elder daughter, she started buying houses when she was young like myself.
yeah.
And by the time she was 30, she was a self-made millionaire.
How good's that?
Because around the turn of the century, a lot of the properties doubled in price just about.
Yeah.
And she had already had 2 or 3. So all of a sudden they doubled. Bingo, she's a millionaire.
How good's that?
And she's underway. Anyway,
Great story.
getting back to the second thing I'd tell people.
Yep.
Now, what was it?
So that one's about don't borrow money for
Don't
things
borrow
that don't
money.
make money.
Don't borrow money on things that don't make
Yeah.
money.
It's great. It's great advice.
Yeah. And the other thing I would say is always listen to the old people. Always listen to the old people and take in their advice and go from there. And even if you go and ask, if you want to make a decision on something, go and ask an old person. Get their advice because the old person can give you wisdom.
I 100% agree. Dad calls it dome. Don't overlook mature age something. I think like mature age something.
Yeah.
But it's true because if as a young person you seem to think you know everything.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes young people are scared to ask older people because they don't want to hear the answer.
Yeah.
But if you have the
It'll
humility
only be the truth,
Correct.
Yeah.
And if you have the humility to do that, I think it makes a big difference. Great advice. Love it. Love those 2 tips. Now, this one, this question here, if there was one thing that you could do that would have an impact on the world, what would it be? And there's plenty of things here. You can talk about it selfishly, I don't really care, or you can talk about it on a humanitarian, like world peace or something like that. You can say whatever you like, but if there was one thing that you could do that would have an impact on the world, what would that
I would
be?
probably be a very hard prime minister if I was a hard prime minister. And I would make one very simple thing. And this is a fairly big statement. From the 1st of January 2022, the dole is cancelled.
You're voted in.
The dole is cancelled.
Yep.
Sunday school's over. It's get a job or whatever. In other words, be a little bit like Singapore.
Yeah.
There is no unemployed.
Yep.
You need a job, you go to them and they'll find you one. Mister, you got to work.
Yep.
You've got to work. So I would bring that in. And that's a very harsh thing to do in Australia because it's been going for too long and it's just getting out of hand.
We're 100% behind you. I think we have troubles getting people to work because they sit and go, geez, I have to do all that. I can sit at home and get that money. It's like, well, what do you
Just
say?
take that away from them.
Yeah, okay. Have you thought of running for PM?
Sorry?
Have you thought of running for PM?
No.
You've got the jingle. If more people thought like that, we'd be a different place. I understand there's needs for people, but I 100% agree with you on that. And that would be an unbelievable thing. I think for me, paying 30 cents in my dollar, personally and plus with the business, if I knew that money was going to something bloody useful, I probably wouldn't be as worried about paying it. But when I think where it goes, I sit there and go, mate, I wouldn't leave my money to a politician if I didn't have to, because they've got no fucking idea of how to run business.
Exactly right. They've got no idea. I just say, like, it's not Japanese arithmetic. Just get everyone out there and working.
Yeah, and you're right. In Singapore, you do see it. Like, you might have a 80-year-old or something doing sweeping, cleaning up at the fast food joints and stuff, but they're still doing something. And they're making a difference to the community. Well, maybe Noel 4 p.m. It's got a bit of a ring to it.
No, thank you.
Noel's PM.
Leave it to the young ones.
Noel's PM. Noel's PM. Noel's PM.
Your competition won't be that high. Get Scott Morrison.
I like it. So, Noel, we have one more hard-hitting question.
Oh, gee.
And this one's hard-hitting. And we've had some struggles on it. But I think I've got a hunch you've played a few board games in your time.
Board games?
When you're at the caravan park, board game, like
board games.
Yeah.
Many years
Snakes
ago.
and ladder, like Scrabble. Right. If you died, which heaven forbid, and came back as a board game, what board game would best describe your life? Now, we've had a few board games. It's hard because you might not play board games, but we've had Yahtzee, we've had Snakes and Ladders. Lots of ups, lots of downs. For me,
Monopoly comes to mind, probably.
Okay, so have you been to jail?
I haven't done a stretch in the elastic band factory yet. You didn't pick that up, did you?
No, elastic band factory.
Elastic band. I haven't done a stretch in the elastic band factory yet.
Far out. That's pretty funny.
Okay, it's just a saying.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one. No. So, there's been a mixture of things. We've had a game called Risk. We've had Trivial Pursuit. We've had a mixture of things. We've had card games. We've had games that we don't
Stock.
We've had Mousetrap. You tell us the game. We'll look it up because
Stock something. To do with buying and selling shares.
Board game stock market.
Stock market.
Okay. Visa.
Stock market.
Okay, stock market board game. Okay. Yeah, there is a thing. Okay, have you played this game?
Well, I have.
But
a long time ago.
Yeah. It's an old 1968. The stock market board game deluxe came out.
Right.
That's when it came out, but there's other beautiful stock market games.
I reckon I got to doing it probably around the mid-'80s.
Yeah, it came out in 1968.
Yeah.
So this is a game about the stock market where the roll of the dice collect dividends, attend stockholder meetings and buy and sell company shares. The first player to earn 100 grand wins. And that is you, Noel. Is that you?
I like to be a winner, yeah.
Okay. Just as I thought. It's got pretty shit ratings, 6.2 out of 10 on Amazon. But what would Amazon know about Noel? Definitely not about... and that's one thing. Are we seeing Noel's Caravans on Amazon? No. Not that we can see.
Well, no.
So there you have it. Stock market game for Noel. Noel, thank you. Thank you for coming in and telling us all about your experiences. Make sure that anyone knows to buy a caravan. Noel's Caravans are the best caravans in the world, voted by us today.
Thank you for that.
And if anyone obviously wants that, well, you're going to have to wait, but don't forget to put an order in It's been a pleasure having you on board, Noel. I love speaking to people on all walks of life. Your Noel's Caravans song is stuck in my mind, my wife's mind, and my kids' mind because I've been repeating it over and over again.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything you've done. Like, it just goes to show what you said right at the start. Just do it. You just went out there and did it and realised that anything is possible. Living proof that anything is possible. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. Thank you for it. My pleasure.
You.